And we are finally live.
Welcome everybody. Hello. Welcome to Cat Comics, your new favorite YouTube channel. Thank you for coming today. As you can see, we're not in our usual environment.
No, we are not. And I want to say something about. I want to rant. All right, really quick. We've been without internet for 3 freaking days. All right. So listen, if you are a Cox user, all right, if you use that internet service, drop them now. All right, they suck. You know?
Okay, baby.
No. Cox can go suck a big fucking dick right now.
Babe, they are flagging all the live streams
Whatever.
now. Like YouTube is being like monitored by bots right now. So everything causes like a strike in the channel or in the videos. Like I really agree with you and you are very right. But we have to be careful with that. Anyway, guys, so today we have a very, very interesting, fine gentleman panel. We are starring Sir Joe Froggo. Welcome, sir, to our channel.
Hey.
One of the top promoters in Comicsgate, without a doubt. A really, really nice froggy who likes to dance sexy.
Yeah, we love Froggo. We really love Froggo. And we have our guest of honor, the incredible Narwhal. Yeah, welcome.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Joe, I'm happy to be honored to be on a panel with you. He cut off his mic, but yeah.
Heck yeah. My I don't know if you've seen my ghetto stream set up last time, but it just like fell apart. I got my phone in a box, propped up in one of my dresser drawers. It's pretty crafty.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It's coming up with solutions. Yeah, welcome, Narwhal. Look, we are both big fans of your work, right? We love the art. We love what we've seen so far, and we would like to talk about a little bit of that with you, of course.
Yeah, like, well, this story started because, well, Froggo, like, was sending in the group chat, like, look, I received Earthbound, and look at these pages.
Yeah.
Look at these pages. No, and I was, I have to talk to this guy. I have to invite him to the channel. I have to talk about this because this is something I never seen before. Okay, for so many reasons. Like, okay, I understand that maybe like some people, like everybody knows that they do amazing stuff, but we are new in Comicsgate, so I discovered Narwhal this way, and I'm just so excited. And yeah, I decided to approach Narwhal in the DMs, and he was super easy to talk to. Super approachable, and wow, that's even better. Like, not only he's an amazing artist, but he's also like a very down-to-earth person. So yeah, I'm so happy to have you here, Narwhal, and welcome. And yeah, like, can you please tell us what you are promoting right now?
Yeah, thanks for having me on the channel. Yeah, and I'm Comicsgate 100%, and I love just that aspect of that. It's this open network, and yeah, I'm honored that you liked my art. And you know, one thing I've noticed is like people who are also artists, they will kind of like my art sometimes, and then Europeans will sometimes like my art. So artists who are also European, they might like it the most even. but yeah, like my influences are European. Like I really like Bengal, the French artist. If you guys heard of him, I don't know. And like LRNZs, like Lorenzo, this Italian comic artist. And then going back a bit, Mobius, obviously, I'm influenced by him and stuff. But yeah, right now I'm promoting Foreign Agent, just wrapped for the main campaign, but it's still in demand. Ethan helped me launch it, and John Malin helped me close it. And that's kind of like Comicsgate for you in a nutshell. So, you know, that's something some people have been talking about. It's like they're lending some of these smaller creators their platforms, and it allowed the book to be really successful, you know, like raising 30K. And yeah, I heard Ethan was arguing with someone today on Twitter. He's like, I'll promote you if you're Comicsgate. And the guy's like, you're gatekeeping then. Why don't you promote me when I'm not Comicsgate? And we're like, no, the whole point is to join the network. And like, you don't get all the benefits and then none of the risk, you know, because we're all risking our careers. Basically, we will never work for Marvel. Not that we want to, but I remember that moment when you jump in at first, like a couple years ago, like I was nervous, and it was this book actually that I had like maybe it was maybe going to get published, and the publisher was looking at it, and they ended up passing on it, and they said like, we all think it's super cool, but we're going to pass. And I was like, whatever, I'm going Comicsgate then, 100%. So that's kind of when I jumped in.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Like, I don't know if this is being shared in the screen. Can you see we're showing?
Yeah, I think you guys are scrolling the website right now. Yeah.
Good. Because I don't know, there's just so many things I wanna say about this. Like, it completely rocked my world when I saw it. Like, I actually saw pages from Earthbound that Froggo showed me, and well, I don't know where to start. You know, I don't know where to start. The first thing I should say that the first thing that blew my mind was the dynamism, the movement. Like, the movement is like no other, right? But it's not only that. What I think it's very special about Narwhal's art is that he understands what works in art, what works to make it a really cool looking project, to make a really cool finish to it, and he sticks to the very basics, like the roots of it. Because as you can see, like, the artist is like minimalism. I don't know how to call it, but you know, he's not like detailing 7 hours the same character. No, but this works. This you cannot say that this doesn't work. This works perfectly. And like, it's like he understood so well the rules of what works and what doesn't, that he mastered them, and he bent the rules to how he wanted to do it. And yeah, like, I don't know if I'm making my point clear.
No, absolutely. It's a style, and it's a style that I definitely dig. You know, there is you have a lot of talent, sir, and I for one really enjoy, like you were saying, you know, the movement and the action and how you portrayed it, because you know, anybody can draw poses, you know what I mean? But well, not everybody, but you know, it's a lot easier. But you tell a story through your art, and that's really what a good illustrator does. So kudos to you for that, for sure.
Yeah, but like, just look at the movement. Like, it's atypical. It's not what you see all the time. It looks like a snapshot of a movie, but also the coloring like complements the art very well. And I just love to see, like, it's like relaxing in a way. Like, it's very balanced visually, because he's not like overwhelming you with details and stuff to see. And you know, remember what we were talking about, the Kill Bill movie. So you can actually focus on what's important, and you can really get into the story. So I love it. I love it. I love it in all senses.
Yeah, and even though we're not, you know, you are obviously promoting Foreign Agent, which is looking great. I would also say that Earthbound is just another good showcase of your art and of your talent that I personally like a lot. So tell us about your influences. Where does all this come from?
Yeah, I think so. When hearing you say that is so nice, and not, but I think it's like a little bit of like, yeah, the fundamentals. Like, I do focus on perspective, and within perspective too, something I kind of focus on is I even try and think of like the lens of the camera. So if it's a wide lens, that changes the perspective, and if it's a long lens, that'll change the perspective too. So in a long lens, the perspective is more like a little bit more like isometric, like that iconic shot of Akira where he's walking to his bike, that poster, you know. That's a long lens shot, so it's almost like a video game angle, like just looking down, and that's where all the lines become parallel almost. It looks like it's like a satellite zooming in on a dude is kind of like what creates that effect. And then a wide lens will put you in the moment, and if it's a wide lens, that means like the picture of the girls stabbing each other. I'll show you that one. Yeah, so this is a wide lens, so this is like you're almost looking up at the knife, and then you're looking down at the girl, so that puts you right there in the moment. It puts you in the room with the two girls. You could draw it with a different perspective and it could feel far away. But for that one, I wanted to feel close. Like, so yeah, so that's like a quick way to kind of explain it. And I figured that out over the years, kind of through trial and error. And a lot of it's just the things that I realize, because one part of it was I got this one gig when I turned 30 and I had to, it was the only real gig, pre-comic skate, real comic gig I ever got. I met this journalist and he had a book deal with a medic who had come back from Afghanistan and written a memoir, and they were going to get it published, but their artist fell through. So he emailed me and they're like, can you do 150 pages and color them and letter them in 1 year? And I was like, yes, but I hadn't done it at that point. I didn't know if I could. And so that year was like a little bit of like attrition or, trial by fire. And I ended up redrawing like the first 30 pages. So I drew all 150. It took me about 30 and I was starting to get kind of comfortable. But what I was doing was definitely like cutting certain corners. Like I realized if I'm coloring it and inking it, I don't need to ink any cross hatching because the coloring can take care of that. If I need like to illustrate a form, I don't need to cross hatch it. So I just say what?
You colored this.
Yeah.
No, yeah. Like I figured you colored it because it follows the same line of what you do with the artwork, with the line work. I mean.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to point out specifically this page. Look at this. Like this is simple. Like there's not a lot of detail in that in that background, but we can see. How do you call this?
The hallway.
Yeah, like a hallway, and that beauty, like it's so beautiful. That little line of light there, it's like a touch that it makes it like so beautiful and makes everything pop more. But everything is not about the amount of detail or the amount of hours put in the same work, but of knowing where and how and the angle,
it's knowing what works.
Yeah, as you can see, baby, like Narwhal is not only like thinking about the drawing, but he's like a movie director. He thinks of the angles of how it can help to narrate the story. He's putting the story in first place because he has a very clear vision of what he wants to display. So right. I don't think we see that very often. I'm just so impressed. Like congratulations. Like I'm a huge fan.
Congrats. And
thank you.
Tell me, when you get a script, right? You get the script. Do you get to play with it a lot with as far as angles and things, or are they usually very specific as to what they want to show in the panel?
So with that one gig that was Machete Squad, they had the panels laid out, and I think it was just like they might have said wide shot or close shot or whatever, and then I just did it. They had almost no notes. They weren't too picky, which was nice. I actually really enjoyed working with that. And then for like Earthbound, that's like I wrote it, so it just went from script to thumbnail, and the thumbnail stage is really where so the script doesn't do any of that. The thumbnail does all of it, of figuring out where the camera angles go and stuff. And right. I thought about it too. Just the other day, I kind of did a quick video thinking about Earthbound because it has gotten a good response. A lot of people really like it. And I think one of the things that I do, and I might have started doing this almost accidentally, but it's all about the cuts. So I think there's a good cut after this page in the book. So it's like a close up on her. I think if we scroll down, I think it cuts to the next page. Can you scroll down just a second? Because they might be in order. No, it cuts to that other page that you guys liked. Anyway,
the green one. Okay.
Yeah. So it cuts to this page. So that cut's kind of good. It spans a lot of time, but you instantly know what happened in between the time, and it just keeps it rolling snappy. Like I could have done pages of them walking and then entering a door and then they're here, but instead just cutting straight to it. I do that a lot, kind of. But yeah.
Right. And that being said, since you have that style of work, which is, by the way, a very talented way of working with things, when you have written your own stories, do you write them as you draw them, or do you have a script prepared for them?
I do the script first. Mm-hmm. That's kind of in my 20s, there was a period where I was more into script writing than comics, and I wanted to be like a movie guy, and I wrote a bunch of scripts, and that they eventually, like, I wrote like 15, 16, then like right around there I wrote Earthbound, and that was like the first one that was like kind of good. Like, it took a long time to get kind of okay at script writing, but then that's been my process now, is I basically write it as a movie, but now I'll conceptualize it as a comic, because there are little things you change. Like with movies, you don't necessarily want to like droll on with too much crazy monologue or dialogue scenes. I usually get a little more quickly to the point, because some of it doesn't quite come across. Like I was even this morning, I was watching a documentary about Mike Judge, the guy who did Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill and stuff. And so he does animation, and I love animation, but it's so different things that work in animation that don't work in comics. Like his shorts that got him famous, all it is just like a character, a monologue, and a voice, and that it's so charming for 1 minute or something. And those went on SNL and got him famous and everything. It's like that wouldn't work in a comic. You couldn't just draw a funny character design and write a monologue. It's like, I mean, it'd be okay, but you really need the voice, and the delivery is like the final ingredient to make it magical. And so with comics, there's like different priorities, and it seems to be the things I kind of lean on are like just like regular old like intrigue reveals. Any eavesdropping scene is automatically like super interesting. Any undercover scene is super interesting.
Yeah, like you mentioned, in comics, in comics you have whatever you see is going to be plastered forever in history in that piece of paper, right? So you definitely want to leave a good impression with the scene, and I think you do a wonderful job at that, especially with like the movement, as we were talking about. So you wrote and illustrated Earthbound. What was your involvement with Foreign Agent?
That one I wrote and drew also. Those are kind of my two that I was working on before Comicsgate. So when Comicsgate hit, I was kind of in a lucky position, because even though I'd kind of been just banging my head against the wall, and I was, it was kind of rough, I was trying to break in. I'm kind of a little bit bitter about it, because like I had a bunch of false starts. Like I was maybe going to break into the industry. Then you hit a dead end because of kind of because of wokeness. It seemed like a lot of it was holding me back. And then, but I was working on these just in the meantime, and I had like hundreds or so pages of each done when Comicsgate started. So I've been able to, for these first two projects, offer high page counts, and like full big books kind of.
Right. And was it really a big difference doing this comic in black and white?
Yeah. So for this one, there's a couple little things about it that are different. One is that the whole story just takes place in one house. So I had this idea to do the house in 3D and pull 3D JPEGs out and draw over the top of them, kind of like animation. How in animation you have cells over the top of the backgrounds. Mm-hmm. So I had a buddy do a low res model of the house, and I was using that to kind of like make the book. And I wanted it to be black and white at first, kind of for it to like feel like an old movie, but kind of within the story itself, it's not clear exactly when it takes place. So that's almost like a little meta point of intrigue that I kind of like. So I don't think I ever would color it, even if I could, because I like that idea that it might take place in the future, but it's still black and white and feels old. So that just feels cool, kind of.
Yes, and like I can see that you are used to think outside of the box. Like I don't think that you follow like what everybody else does. You have like your own compass, I think, artistically, and that's what art is all about. Mm-hmm. So this is true art. I think it's art in its pure form. But I want to ask also, because at first, the first thing I thought, like, this is basically genius. Okay, this is genius. That's the word I would use to describe this. And then Froggo told me, yeah, that's like the same thing that your boy Zach said. And I was, oh really? And I watched the video, and yeah, he was actually like having the same reaction I did, like so impressed with your work and praising a lot. And I watched the video, but I also wanted to add more stuff to what he said, and that's what I just said. But like, also, when somebody does something like this is like a statement, okay? This is not what everybody does. So have you encountered like criticism or people that don't understand what you do?
Yeah, I do. But it seems like it's like I have one line I'll say too is if I'm trying to like sell the book, I say the art style it's more impressive. Like 180 pages of it feels different than one page of it. If you look at one page, you might you'd be like, I'll just stick with Todd McFarlane or whatever, some good classic comic art. But then if you see 180 pages of this style, it can kind of pull you in, and all of a sudden you're into it. Like one thing, there's another artist who does this. His name's Matt Krotz. I'm a big fan of his, and he did Kyrie is a book kind of in the scene, but so that book, it's similar to like what this style does. When you have a unique like style that's really consistent, the reader can start to think in that style. So if you're reading this book, and if I say a character, they start talking about a time they're on a cruise ship or something, you can picture a cruise ship in the style that I'm drawing. You start to think like, the imagery of the book itself or whatever.
Yeah, but that's what you said is key. Read in that style. It's not only a visual style, it's like a narrative style. It goes far beyond than just visual, so that's why like it's
for sure. And listen, is if you do a style and you master it, whatever it might be, you can learn to appreciate it. Like I know that this is well done in its style, this is nice and this is nice too. You know what I mean? And you can appreciate both for what they are. And like you said, it's genius. It's a genius way to tell a story. And like you said, I'm not familiar, but what is the page count with Foreign Agent?
It'll be 190.
So imagine that 190, right? 190 pages of seeing the consistency, right? All throughout, from the beginning to the end. Like one of the things that bothered me a lot about a lot of books from Marvel, for example, I would say this one in particular was Civil War. It was that it was drawn by different artists, and at times I felt like the story itself, changed not only tonally but even plot-wise, just by switching artists, right? And it was hard to keep up with, and you couldn't help but compare. And you see, you know what I mean? Whereas this style being consistent throughout the entire book, I think is a lot better.
Yeah, I agree with that. I never liked when art changes mid-book. And that's something that, like, I don't even like when they have, I like when the interior artist is the cover artist,
Yeah.
There's all these things that I've liked over the years that have kind of that ends up sort of becoming like my style. And one thing I was going to say quickly too is I always have been kind of a contrarian or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was trying to remember, like, you can be like a pathological contrarian where it's not always that good. And I'm almost like on that. Like I remember in high school, I played basketball, and the team, they all bought the same shoe because it was like a teamwork solidarity thing. So everyone was going to wear the same kind of shoe. And I bought a different kind of shoe. But that's stupid. Like I should have, in hindsight, teamwork is important and it's meaningful. And I should have bought the same kind of shoe, not been like all like, ooh, I'm different, I'm special, I'm going to wear a different shoe. But that's kind of like, that has been an accidental thing. That's where I've kind of, a lot of times it's almost accidental. A lot of my stuff ends up being kind of original. Just
if you want to stand out, right? If you want to stand out, you have to always be that kind of person, right? Be the guy that does things differently, even when everyone is doing the same thing. And that's why I think I am personally a big fan of this kind of art and this kind of books, because I know that this is mastery in the craft. This is your craft. This is the way you draw, and I like it.
Yeah, but it's not only a way to draw; it's a way to narrate. It's like a movie. It's like watching a movie, but in a paper.
Yeah.
So you can take your movie everywhere and read it everywhere.
Yeah, I liked what your boy Zach said about, like, some people might not understand the art, but then he zoomed in on one of the faces, and he's like, "This is great art because I can look at this face and I just understand everything about the character."
Yeah,
exactly. And that's one thing Narwhal's art does. There's one thing I've said in the past is, like, a good artist can, draw or paint a picture of the ocean, but a great artist, when you look at it, you can smell the ocean. And I feel that's kind of like what Narwhal's book and his art style and storytelling, scene setting, the camera lenses, like you get sucked into it really like that.
Yeah, absolutely. And being as though we're talking to the writer and the artist of the story, you can tell how he tells visually the story as well. You were said that there was kind of this ambiguity with whether this was a timepiece or in the present, and I think this says it all right here, right? So this child is confused, and he's holding pistols from two different time periods. That's good storytelling in drawing. right?
Everything is so well thought.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so you trust the author.
Yeah.
You trust that if he is showing you this,
Mhm.
it's because
It's because of something. Right?
there's a reason behind it.
Exactly.
And now, like nowadays, we're so used to being overwhelmed with so many details and unnecessary stuff, you know, unnecessary stuff that they show in like, for example, in music videos, that many, you know, accessories, dancers, you know, it's like so overwhelmed that you're not looking at stuff anymore.
Mhm.
You're not paying attention to anything. They only care that you understand that there's plenty of it, there's a lot of money involved, it's a super production, and that's it. Nobody cares like what color is it, what texture, what's the inspiration. No, nothing. It's all about amount and like shallowness. But
Yeah, like the new Star Wars movies remind me of that. It's like there's nothing there except big, you know, pomp and circumstance trying to make money with just big special effects or whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And some of the filler, like in the mainstream comics, they'll have like a 2-page spread with the characters explaining the food they're eating.
Yeah, that's weird when that happens, when it's like, wow, you're taking up a whole page or double page real estate and it's not like a cool story reveal or a meaningful image or whatever. It's just like people sitting at a table talking. I'm like, oh man.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that was brought up in one of the, you know, I always enjoy like when people, I guess, either criticizes or reviews our books, you know, the Grim Reaper. And there was one thing that came out a lot was not enough spread pages, but I felt like the spread pages that were there served the purpose. You know what I mean? Said something and meant something. Had I done any other spread pages with the rest of the art that we had, I think it wouldn't have made sense. You know, and like you said, you know, it's there's times where it works and there's times where it doesn't. And knowing the difference is what really makes a good artist in your case, and of course as Narwhal as well. Now tell me, what is Foreign Agent about?
Foreign Agent, it's got some kind of meta high concept stuff that I like to talk about, but it's these two soldiers come to this house, so it's kind of this home invasion. They kind of force their way in, force the family to feed them. There's a language barrier, so they can't understand each other, and the family talks in it's white font on black bubble, and the soldiers talk in white on black font on white bubble, and it becomes kind of clear to the reader that they don't understand each other. And then the young soldier and the young boy in the family are artists, so they start exchanging drawings to try to communicate. And so it becomes like a comic within a comic when it does that. And I hired 2 other artists to be that meta art, like cast them to do the art for these characters within the story. Mm-hmm. And so they kind of make this shaky truce, try and team up for a couple days, ride out this storm, hide from whoever's chasing them. And then it doesn't, you know, it's like kind of, you're not sure how well it's going to go. Like kind of sense of dread kind of building. It's kind of like an old Western too. It just kind of builds to like a shootout basically, you know?
Okay. So it's kind of like the homeowners are experiencing Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah. There's a little bit of that for sure. Yeah.
And would it be like also the reverse, right? So the soldiers go into their home and they also kind of start catching feelings, if you will, for the family who are giving them shelter.
Yeah, it's like of the 5 kind of main characters, you're not sure who's a good guy and who's a bad guy right away. Like, so that slowly kind of you can rank people morally as the story progresses, kind of.
Right. And so you're trying to kind of convey that art can bring people together, just like many things, right? You can say sports can bring people together, but in your personal experience, art can bring people together. Has there been a time where you felt that connection, artistically speaking, with someone else or with?
Definitely. I kind of have 2 types of friends. You know, I have my best friends I grew up with, and they're great. I love them. Then I have like artist friends, and it's so different to have an artist friend than a best friend that you grew up with. It's like, it's such a different connection and it's fun. And all the conversations can be way different and way in, you know, depending apples and oranges, but you know, funner, more fulfilling or whatever. And, yeah, for this one, what I was going to say, I was really excited when I had that idea to have the story have like meta art in it. Cause I was like, this will be perfect for a comic. Like this story, it's best told in the comic medium. So I'm excited about that. Cause I maybe could get accused of like my books being like too cinematic or like too much like movies. And I'm like, well, that they are cinematic, and not that that's good or bad. It depends how you feel about it or whatever. But this story needs to be a comic, I think. But yeah.
Well, 534 people agree with you so far.
Yeah.
So, it's definitely a concept that people enjoy. And now, obviously, this was born out of your own life experiences and things like that. But where would you say that Foreign Agent was born?
Yeah, it's a good question. So when I was talking about my artist buddies, I got an artist buddy named Louis Dorge, and he lives in Iowa. And I think I visited him is when it came up. I visited him for a month, like kind of a long visit because we're pretty good buddies. So I was just crashing on his couch for a month. And he is a big time film buff with this huge film collection. And for some reason we were talking about low budget movies. And he's like, you should watch a couple of these Monty Hellman Westerns starring Jack Nicholson. Like just for inspiration, because it's like they're super entertaining, but they're like one location. One of them just takes place in the desert, almost like no location. It's just like cowboys and horses and guns and whatever. But so I watched those and they were like really inspiring. And I had that idea of like the basic idea for Foreign Agent. I had it, started writing it. I think I might have, I didn't quite finish it. I wrote like 60 pages and it kind of sat there for a couple of years. Then I looked at it again and I was like, this is good and would be a cool comic. So then I finished it and kind of started production on it.
Oh yeah, I think I know what you mean. There are tons of movies that I enjoy like that, especially like indie films, whereas the environment or the surroundings or I guess you could say the scenery, becomes a character in its own right. And you and it can be an unforgiving character or it can be a benevolent character, but it plays a huge role, right? And I think that Western movie do use a lot of that, the desert or whatever it might take place, because Western movies don't always have to happen in the Arizona desert or the Texas desert, right? It can happen in the snow, it can happen in the forest, but I feel like in a lot of those movies, the environment becomes a character. Is it the same case with Foreign Agent?
Yeah, like the house for this too. Like there's a point of inspiration from a like my favorite movie of all time. Maybe it's Dawn of the Dead from 1979, the George Romero zombie movie. So that one a bunch of it takes place in a mall, and they move around the mall, and they're there for most of the movie at like one location. And the way he shoots it is whenever they're in a certain section of the mall, he shoots at the same camera angle. So if they come back there later, he uses the same camera angle. And what it does is it orients the viewer. So you start to understand like the map of the mall just because he's not changing the camera angle. It's like the video game Resident Evil. Like if you run down a hallway, it's going to be the same camera angle depending on where you're standing at any point, and that's part of what helps you orient yourself. So I did that for this house, and it's like it all takes place in this house, and like the layout is kind of important and does play into the story and some of the action scenes. Like there's a skylight, and blah blah blah. But that is a big part of what's fun for me with the writing process too, is like when the environment plays into the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you look at it from a cinematic perspective, and you look at tons of successful directors that did that with the stage, if you will, right? Like you look at what Stanley Kubrick did in The Shining, right? Like you said, you become so familiar with the hotel, and the hotel becomes an entity on its own, right? And the hallways, you almost memorize them. You know which rooms are what's hiding in them and why not. And one movie I will recommend that does kind of something very, very similar is it's actually an indie film. I'm not big into modern cinema because, as we all know, it's garbage. But the indie cinema, there's always some gems in there, especially French. French movies are actually surprisingly really good. There is this French movie that in French is called Nemesis, but in English it was translated as Sam Was Here. Have you seen it?
No, I'm writing it down here though. Sounds good.
Watch it. I definitely recommend it, and I think it's kind of like that same style that you use for a lot of your visual storytelling. If you have seen it, comment on the chat. I think it was on Netflix, but it was taken down or something like that. You know how Netflix is. Not too long ago, and it was fantastic. I've become like big into foreign cinema. I've watched. Have you seen Martyrs from France as well?
No, what's that one?
So that one is so there's this group of people, like this cult, right, that kidnaps these girls. So they want to find out if there is an afterlife or not, and they're obsessed because they're really old and they see like their time is coming. So they tortured this girl, right? They pushed her to the very edge, just to find out what, like right when she's on that threshold before dying, between the death and the living, just so that she can tell them whether there's an afterlife or not. And the ending, I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's just, I think, at least the best thing I've seen in a movie ever.
Cool. I'm excited, dude. I'm always looking for cool, new, inspiring movies. That's probably the main thing that inspires me is I'll just like watch a bunch of movies, and that if I feel like I want to write something, I'll like make a list of like research for films to watch and try.
Yeah, absolutely. With that being said, then let's all watch the trailer for.
Wait, we have to share audio.
We do have to share audio. 1 sec.
Yeah.
I think I heard it, but I don't know. Oh, you know what? Something crazy though. We're gonna watch this, and the last couple of times I've checked it, it used to have music, and now it doesn't have music. I don't know what happened because I own. Well, I mean, the rights are for the music is to Milkman from War Campaign, and so, but I don't know if it got flagged and taken down. And the trailer is not as good without music. It's kind of weird, but there's still some cool animation we can see.
I blame YouTube. Or Cox. I blame Cox. Yeah, let's blame Cox.
Yeah.
Cox. Yeah, let's play.
Oh, now there is music. Okay. Oh, did it? Yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm glad the music's back. Maybe I was just going crazy the last couple of days.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's, don't want to spoil anything in the book. I would say the last, it does build, the tension builds, and the last 80 pages or so, 60 pages or so get very, very intense. I mean, you bring things to a boil with all these different characters. For an agent, you feel from the beginning, I mean, and in fact, the way you set up the story of these soldiers kind of making their way across the snow, feels like they're running from something, it's not good, their situation isn't good. By the time you hit, page 7, you're feeling tense.
That was excellent. And I mean, I love the animation. Did you do that?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Great. That was fantastic. That was really good. My hat goes off to you.
We have no words. We have no words.
Yeah. Thank you. I know, like, I mean, eventually, like, I got like 10, I want to do 10 graphic novels and do them as fast as possible. Maybe I can do them in, like, I'm 33. So maybe I can do them before I'm 40, but that would be like a stretch. But and I want to do some animation eventually. Maybe.
Yeah, so the same thing I say. I wanna do so many books by the time I turn some age. That's the way writers think a lot of times.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny because it's not like I comics are like the thing I want to do most. Yeah. But I want to do them all and then move on or something.
That's great. And listen, I love like the storytelling aspect to it, because like every time I see more of it, I catch glimpses of your thinking behind the story, right? And there was a time during the trailer where you put two families meet, right? Or two families put together. And what people understand, if you've ever been in the service, in the military service, in any kind of army like that, right? your battle buddies, the people the other soldiers become family, right? It's that relationship, because you live with these people, you eat with these people. A lot of times, unfortunately, you shower with these people, right? And they become just family. And so if you spend enough time with someone, even if you hate them, you're gonna miss them whenever you don't see them again, right? So I think that whole bringing these two families together in that same house, was that kind of your thinking behind it, like bringing these two families, if you will, together will make them become one big family?
Yeah, and like wording it, because it's part of this is funny, is like I had to find like one sentence because it had to be that cut to black and do a movie theater kind of line. Right. And I think at first I might have written like a family and two soldiers come together, and I'm like, that it takes too long. It doesn't sound. I'm like, I could just write two families because the soldiers are basically a family. Right. But so I did that. But yeah, then that kind of part of the original concept too is like sort of going with that title having a little bit of a double meaning, but it's like it's that the foreign agent, like if you guys remember like 7th grade science or whatever, you have your test tube and it's like a saline solution in it, and if you add something else to it, like whatever, they call that adding a foreign agent. So like the house is like the test tube, the soldiers coming in are the foreign agent being added to the test tube.
Oh, okay. So they're not necessarily from another country.
Yeah, they're not like foreign in the foreign sense. I think the family's French and the soldiers are American is kind of the idea.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And well, definitely very intriguing. A really neat concept. Great art. Is this book still in demand? Is this book still available?
It is. It's in demand. Yeah.
Perfect. So yeah, guys, listen. If you haven't backed it already, you want to grab yourself a copy of it. It's still in demand on Indiegogo. Cool.
Yeah, thank you so much for letting me talk about it. And you guys showered me with compliments. I feel weird. It was nice though.
It's what we think.
No, yeah, it definitely, man, it comes lots of respect. All right, lots of respect for your art, for sure, and for your work.
Yeah, I mean, I saw this and I was like, I need to have him on the channel and tell him everything in person.
Yeah. Nice.
So yeah, we're super happy to have you on. Like, thank you a lot for coming. Yeah. I want to make a little stop to say hello everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for being here. Like, we started all like so fast because we're not in our house. Like, our internet is down.
I blame Cox.
Yeah, it's Cox.
Yeah,
freaking Cox, man.
Like, we don't have internet at home, so we are like at families now.
Yeah.
So we came here running and trying to install everything quickly and log in our accounts and everything running. So we started like straight to the point. But hey, thank you so much everybody in the chat. And also, please, YouTube is acting a little weird, so please check if you're unsubscribed from the channel, because some people told me that they actually got unsubscribed from the channel. So please check. Yes. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And yeah, a little sort of promotion gap here.
Sure.
Because
no shame in that.
Yeah, I mean, the Green Reaper is 5 days left. Mm-hmm. Only 5 days. Yeah, the time is up. And yeah, we have 69 backers.
That is actually a pretty good number. Let's keep it at that. I'm just playing. Let's throw in there some more. Come on.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we're very happy. We have been receiving a lot of backings lately. Mm-hmm. And yeah, we cannot wait to show you guys what we have prepared for you. This is a huge upgrade regarding the first Green Reaper. So yeah, there are 2 books that we're producing right now. You can get issue 1, issue 2, and the spin-off for $30. So it's a steal. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it's gonna be very fun, very entertaining. And yeah, as you can see, a lot of improvement in all senses. So yeah, guys, so back it while you still can, because when everybody receives the pretty stuff I have prepared for you, you want to have it. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Jump and train out before time's up.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, looks amazing. Carla, I was on a stream with you where you pitched it and it sounded awesome. Yeah. I forget what stream that was. I don't know. Well, it was made with Wenger, I think.
Oh yeah. Well, I would love to. I would love to. Yeah. Like we still have 5 days left.
Yeah, absolutely. We still have 5 days left. And listen, it's Carla's birthday is coming up on Tuesday, so it will be her birthday present if you back remember.
Oh God. Like, so thank you very much for dropping the links for all the campaigns we're talking about here. Sim, thank you very much for the support. Now with 50% more peanuts, everybody's joking about my sexy peanuts because when I say sexy peanuts, they sexy peanuts. So I told them, okay, I'm gonna send you a peanut in a thong.
At least that's what they heard. At least that's what they hear, all right? Now something else to it.
Yeah, Ryan Miller Art. No, Across so sweet. She don't get the 69 thing.
I know. Believe me, I have too much fun at home.
All right, so let's welcome one more member to the panel, Mr. Red Gaze. Welcome.
Red Gaze, what's up, man?
How's it going, people?
It's going great. It's going great. How about yourself?
Pretty good.
All right. Glad to have you.
Yeah,
thank you for having me.
Yeah, like to start talking about this dream stream thing.
Right. So what we came here for, I mean, we were just showcasing the wonderful art and talent of Narwhal. What do you think? Have you seen Foreign Agent?
I've seen it. I've seen about as much as everybody else, I think. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm glad. I haven't heard your voice in a while. Your voice sounds really nice.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I heard you quit the deli, Narwhal. What the hell?
Yeah, I did. I quit the deli because so part of this was because of the big good review from your boy Zach, and Foreign Agent launched at the same time, and that so I saw a lot of success kind of, and I was like, it took me like a week to process it. But I was like, I don't need to work at the deli anymore, so I quit. But now the deli's crazy. Like, I quit right before all the coronavirus
stuff. I can imagine.
Yeah, you had a time. You, man, smart man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy out there, guys. Listen, we went to a Walmart 3 nights ago, and there was nothing left. I've never seen that in America, at least. Never in my life.
But the most apocalyptic thing about it
It was
that like you usually get to Walmart, there's a lot of food, there's music, there's people. Okay, there was no people, no food, and no music. The only sound you could hear was the sound of the fridges.
The people with the wheelchairs.
No.
Swing a low sweet chariot.
So the fridge like
Yeah, it was uncomfortable.
It was scary.
And the worst
That's
part,
creepy.
Yeah.
BS part of it all, okay, is that I grabbed 3 things of bread. But listen, I'm not like everybody. I'm not hoarding, all right? I just grabbed 3 things of 3 big breads because it was, I wanted it. You know what I mean? And they took them out. They only let me have 1. I don't recognize this country anymore. I don't.
That's weird. Yeah, that's like rationing socialist style or whatever.
That's the same thing I said. It's like I feel in Venezuela.
Yeah, but we're still paying for it. That's not right.
Right.
The milk hoarding is the most ridiculous thing to me. That's how you know people have lost their damn minds. Buying like 20 gallons of milk. Like, what the hell are you going to do with 20 gallons?
Yeah,
of
you're
milk?
going to drink that in a week, idiot?
My point exactly is that the bread was like the homemade one. The day after, that was going to be
hard. Yeah,
hard.
Be hard.
They will have to throw it, and it was like almost closing time.
Yeah.
Why would you not let me take my bread? I want my sandwich.
I understand the I even understand. I get the toilet paper. Right?
Yeah,
that was something I actually didn't think about. Like, why would you really want to have in an emergency? Toilet paper wasn't really in my priorities, but I guess it makes sense. But really, do you really need to fill up a whole car with eggs, things that are going to go bad, and that you're not going to eat in time before they spoil? It doesn't make sense.
Maybe they do.
I don't think. Well, maybe that's why they need so much toilet paper. But anyways, back on track here. We have in the panel, we have Joe Froggo, who is one of my favorite promoters, without a doubt.
Thank you.
He definitely gets down and dirty with these campaigns, and he promotes the heck out of it every day.
A huge support.
Tirelessly.
We love Froggo. Right?
We definitely appreciate the support from all of you guys and what you do. And so my wife always talks about how the way I get my ideas, and everybody gets their ideas differently, right? Some people get inspiration from movies, right? People get inspiration from music, even, or seeing a pretty landscape or whatever the case might be, right? But I do this. I mean, my mind does this really weird thing that it's. I kind of get an idea, and it's just like scrambled eggs in my head, right? And it's just like different ideas, not necessarily put together. Then I go to sleep, and when I wake up, I have it. Like, I have the idea. And not only do I dream these books or these stories, but they come with their own soundtrack. You know what I mean? And sometimes in languages I don't even speak, right? So that's, but I still understand what the whole concept was about.
Yeah, and just a little pause. I'm sorry, baby. Let's welcome Vinny. Hey, bro.
Hey, Vinny, what's up, man?
How we doing, guys?
Welcome.
You know,
Hey,
How's it going, Vinny?
pretty good, man. Pretty good. Closed out my campaign last night.
Congrats on hitting the
Huge
25K,
congrats.
and thank you everybody
Thank
who
you.
helped them get there, because now we all get a free gift, and I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, we're gonna get the ash can.
Right?
Congrats,
Congrats,
bro.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like I was telling before, right? So and that's just my way of writing. And then I wake up and I start writing these things, right? And there's been crazy times where I wake up and I'm like, that was a really insane idea. And I don't know if you guys happen to catch this with dreams, but a lot of times not only is your mind making them up, but you are perceiving them at the same time as if you didn't have any idea of what was going to happen next. Sometimes you do, but most of the time you don't. So it's like different parts of your mind are working at the same time, and it's like being two people at once in a sense. Being the creator of something and being the person who's watching that creation without really knowing what to expect. The nature of dreams is really, really is a really weird and neat topic to get into. And so I've heard about Joe's story, and that he kind of has similar things happening with dreams, and so why don't you tell us about that, Joe?
Yeah, the way I've described it in the past is, for me, sometimes I have sleep problems. So like I struggle with sleeping, and I have like racing thoughts. And I think that's one of the reasons why I have some of these dreams like you do as a writer. You're thinking about the story, and then you go to sleep and dream about it. But in my case, usually it's random stuff. But I've described it as being kind of like a cinematic video game. So if you've ever played a game like The Last of Us, or like like the Naughty Dog games, like there's a lot of the cutscenes and cinematography, but then it'll break through and you're in the middle of a fight. And yeah, that's sort of how some of my dreams have went. And they've been everything from the standard. I've had the flying dreams, I've had the swimming dreams, I've had zombie dreams, horror dreams, but a lot of times they're just super detailed. And sometimes it's weird to talk about because it makes me sound like a freaking crazy person. But like sometimes it's hard to detach from them when you wake up. Like you're in that reality, and sometimes in that dream state, it feels like you're in there for days or hours or days or weeks, or in one case of one of my dreams, even months. And then you wake up and your brain has to process and realize that it was just a dream. I've woken up missing people from my dreams, or I've woken up like reaching for my shotgun, like where are the zombies are going to be here? I fell asleep. It makes you sound a little crazy saying it that way, but
Soon with this virus.
yeah.
Has anybody ever had that dream, or maybe it's just me, where something is chasing you and you run so goddamn slow that you feel like your boot or your shoes are filled with rocks, and the thing chasing you is just like hauling ass behind you, almost about to catch you? So anybody, does that happen to everybody, or am I just that weird?
Yeah, no, I had
happens.
a reoccurring dream like that, but it was
Same here.
like a pack of animals,
Right.
and like I ended up going into like a house that was like in a fucking cemetery. It was the weirdest shit, like a horror movie.
That's weird. I had a similar reoccurring dream when I was younger, but it was a white Sasquatch chasing me to my kitchen door every time.
Wow.
This was like once a week.
I'll have dreams where I'll get in fights and my fists move in slow motion. And
And everybody else is just moving super quick and
yeah.
And then when I finally find shelter, and it's usually a black bull chasing me. Don't laugh, but that's true. It's either a cow or a bull chasing me. Something must have happened with cattle in the past that I don't remember.
I think so.
And when I go to close the door, it just like becomes a bunch of Legos and they just break apart. You know, so there is no way for me to escape this thing that's chasing me, which is usually a cow. Now a lot of you talk about recurring dreams, and that I think that's super crazy. That's an insane idea. When I was a kid, I used to have this dream that, and it was always about the same thing. It was just huge white bright face, right? That was gonna eat me, and it was just a huge face at the end of a hallway in my house usually, right? And it was always gonna eat me. And it's not like I dreamt the same dream consecutively the same night. No, it went on for months. And so one night, super tired of this thing eating me every night, I came up with a plan, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna confront this thing tonight, and I'm not gonna be afraid of it. And when I went to sleep, sure enough, the face showed up, and I challenged it to poker. So I invited it to play poker with me. And if I beat the thing, it will just leave me alone. And it happened. And I never had that dream again. So there is definitely something about recurring dreams that is just really crazy to me.
Wow.
Does anybody care to share any experiences about recurring dreams?
It sounded like you had to confront your fear, and you did.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like those dreams where, yeah, if you think something bad's happening, it feels like it is. Like I've had this anyway, where like I stop and I control it. Like it's almost like my subconscious realizes, like, no, this isn't real. Or why should this thing have power over me? And you stop, and then it changes, right? It's like almost like a horror movie type of thing. Like you said, you're being chased. What if you stop and you're the one who took out the bad guy? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've had things like that in the past. The reoccurring one, though, was strange. It was one where I was have a couple of times as a kid. And then when I was like about 20 or something, it popped up. Like I had that dream again. It was the strangest thing, but almost like a beat. It was bizarre. Very strange.
Guys, let's welcome Skits Comic. Hey, welcome.
Hey, Skits.
What's up, Skits?
Hey, man, what's going on, y'all? Thanks for having me in here. Appreciate it.
What's up, Skits?
Well, just talking some crazy nonsense over here about dreams and yeah, and how special they are. You know, Joe was sharing with us that he's had recurring dreams, right? And they're kind of source of inspiration for a lot of us. At least for me, they are big. And so, has anybody ever had a sleep paralysis? Because I gotta tell you, that is the scariest thing that could happen to someone.
That's happened to you?
That
happened to me.
My brother's had that a couple of times.
Do you guys wanna share your stories, and I'll share mine again?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well, mine was I remember I used to have my bed set up to where my headboard was by the window, and I had a dream that I woke up and I heard a thump behind me, and I turned around and there was like a kind of a stereotypical alien gray standing there staring at me, and it was just like real freaky. And then I woke up, but when I woke up I couldn't move, and I heard the thump real loud, and like I struggled. I kind of like was thinking like, oh no, it's behind me. Like I couldn't tell if it was a dream or if I was awake. And after like a few seconds of thinking, I was able to sit up, and I like slowly turned around and there was nothing there, but I heard, my eyes are open and I heard the thump audibly. And I did some research on it, and it's the visuals and the sounds can both come while your eyes are open when you're in sleep paralysis. And needless to say, I woke up, I rearranged my bedroom, and I've never put my headboard by the window again.
It's almost been a traumatizing experience, right?
Yeah, I've had some traumatizing dreams that changed what I do, and that was one of them where I was like, yep, not having my head by this window. That damn alien's going to get me next time.
Yeah, it's creepy. I just hear about it, but it creeps me out. I never hope it happens to me. I heard it's like demonic, you know?
Well, I don't know. Look, the time it happened to me was so real that I thought someone broke in the house because it felt like someone was actually pushing me down. But here's the thing, though. I was not seeing anything. I didn't see a shadow. I didn't see a person. I just felt like someone was holding me down, you know?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't move. You know, I was just like that. I was paralyzed. And I could see stuff. You know, I could see the room. So I guess the only thing that made sense at the time is some people just broke in the house and they're just kind of tying me down and I can't see them. Mm-hmm. You know, when I finally snapped out of it, I started like Joe, you know, I started looking around, you know, who's here, you know, because he felt that real. And for the longest time that night, I stayed up thinking like, Was that a dream? Was I awake? You know, because it's that state between sleeping and being awake. And it's crazy that Joe mentioned, you know, that you can see and hear. But one thing that happened to me one time as well, because I've had sleep paralysis a good 5 times at least. And again, the thing that worked for me to stop having it was kind of going prepared for it, like going to sleep prepared, thinking that maybe it was going to happen. So, you know, just be aware that it might happen. And it's going to sound silly, but the thing that worked for me was I'm going to look around in the room and remember where everything is and how it looks. And if anything looks odd or out of the ordinary, I'm going to know that I'm asleep, and then I'm not going to freak out, and I'm going to wake up. And it worked. When it started happening that night, I noticed that the curtain was different. And that's when I realized, okay, I'm asleep. You know, this isn't real. And then I woke up.
Yeah.
You know?
That's interesting. Yeah, that like look for landmarks.
Yeah. Have you guys seen Inception?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
I love that movie. That movie is funny though, because it's a lot of people criticize it because it's not dreamlike enough. It's more just like The Matrix.
Yeah.
But I still love it. There's an anime that's more dreamlike, similar plot-ish. It's called Paprika. You guys heard of that?
I've heard of it.
Oh, you
but I
should check
haven't
that
watched
out
it.
if you haven't seen it. Yeah, it's pretty dope.
That's cool. But yeah,
So-
going back to what John was saying real quick, I had a friend that something similar happened to her. And she thinks it was like some kind of a ghost or something, because she said the room was really cold. She was sitting down in bed. She laid down for just a second. She wasn't sleeping or anything. She just like sat down and laid back on it. And all of a sudden it felt like someone was on top of her and holding her down, like on her chest and everything. Like she just like felt it, freaked her the hell out. She never went back there again. It was like in her grandmother's house or something.
Now talking about landmarks and stuff like that. Now, one of the things I do in my dreams, this has been going on for a while now, is I'm able to find certain things and use those as objects that allow me to do things in my dreams. One of the things is like if you want to fly, for some reason, what I do is I find a roll of paper towels, and grabbing onto those roll of paper towels allows me to fly in my dreams. But
That's weird because holding my breath is how I've learned to fly in my dreams.
now, see, that's really interesting. It's like there's objects that you imbue with some sort of power or something like that. And like if you want to wake up from your dreams, one of the things I always tell people do if you know you're dreaming is to blink your eyes. If you blink your eyes, then you're waking yourself up out of your dream, because you never really blink your eyes in your dreams, or at least I've never had. And that's a way that I've always been able to actually awake from my dreams. But there's all sorts of objects that it's like if I want to do this, I need to have that. If I want to talk to somebody or to make sense of the dream, I have a chair that I want to speak to. It's like I got to find these objects, and those are the things that allow me to understand the dream and to push me through things a lot more. I mean, is that something that you also deal with?
Yeah, absolutely. I think like you said, there are things that become patterns in dreams, and it's crazy that we remember those, right? A lot of people, like the researchers, they still don't really understand how dreams happen, how you can perceive the world that you're creating at the same time. And what does that even tell us about the real world then, right? How do we know? That was the big question at the end of the section. How do we know that anything is real at the end? If your mind is capable of doing that, right? How do you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
I actually had my most intense lucid dream, the one that I said felt like it lasted for months. My dream explained the power of dreams. It was almost like lucid dreaming about lucid dreams.
That's interesting.
Well, now, the lucid dreaming thing is very interesting, and I know that Joe has had some experiences with that. Tell us about lucid dreaming.
So that dream in particular that I'm talking about, it was almost like an entirely different universe that I was kind of thrust into. Mm-hmm. And some of these dreams like that, the really highly detailed ones, I kind of appear in the dreams understanding the rules of the universe. So like when you're writing a comic, you got to have like certain rules, basic rules of the universe. And in this dream, I kind of got thrust into it, and it was the cinematic stuff followed by action, followed by cinematics. And in that dream, it was actually after the fall of mankind. It was like I didn't have a number at the time, but I'd say a vast majority of humanity was wiped out, like 80-90%. And it was the alien invasion that caused it. And we were able to repel the alien invaders, but they had a weapon that, after they were defeated and killed and gone, continued to kill off mankind. And what it was there were like dimensional worms that were able to get into people's dreams and kill them in their dreams. And so people were just dying in their sleep just constantly. But humanity was able to capture what they found was a vessel with those worms inside of it and reverse engineer, so that way humans could go into this dream world. And what it was is the human mind is so powerful that it can actually create alternate dimensions, but we utilize such a small percentage of that we only get glimpses of it when we dream. But these aliens were able to create a way to enter those dreams and find the people, and they manifest themselves as the person's worst nightmare. And by reverse engineering it, we're able to go into those dreams. But one of the things about that is that it was always child warriors, because most of humanity was wiped out, and so they had to send children. And also children were more capable of controlling their abilities and powers in the dream state because they had more imagination that you start losing between the ages of 16 to 18. And I was one of those child soldiers, and at the time I was like 16, and in the dream I was a leader of a team. And yeah, it had all these insane details, politics, everything that I understood.
That's badass.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, that could totally
That's
be
awesome.
a comic. Yeah.
Awesome stuff. I love that.
We should
Yeah,
make that
I remember some of the battles and some of the, like, there was gore and like trauma. Like, these were like children that were, like, when I dream started off, it was like a scene that was set away looking at me, and it was me and one other guy standing on a pile of rubble, and I was holding a big gun, and we both just looked really like melancholy. And in my mind, that was showing the fact that, like, you know, we were kids between the ages of like 12 to 16 that watched our friends die and had to kill and see other people die.
Yeah, you got to grow up very, very fast.
Right.
But yeah, it was cool because the different monsters were so varied, and we never knew what we were going to fight when we would enter the dream state, because it was based on the person who was dreaming. Their worst fear would get manifested. So we never knew until we found that person or found the monster.
Did Freddy ever pop up?
No, that's what the first thing I thought of when I woke up. It was almost like Freddy combined with Inception.
Right.
Yeah.
It was pretty wild. The coolest monster was actually a chameleon.
Oh, wow.
Because the person's dream constructed the world and the monster. So I remember fighting this monster, and it was a Technicolor world with all these pillars. Everything was like multiple colors. And we found the guy, and he was screaming, "Can't you see it? Can't you see it?" And like, "What are you talking about?" And what it was an invisible creature, and it decapitated one of the kids with me. And that's when the fight started. And it was during that battle that I woke up.
Holy crap.
We have a question from Arch City Comics, and Hell Adam, and Hell Comics Gate, of course, and Hell War
Hell
Campaign as well.
Gate, Hell War Campaign, Hell everybody in the chat.
And we have a question here that I wanted to ask you as well, but he actually worded it better than me. When are you going to write a comic?
Yeah.
I've thought about it, and it after a lot of prep and planning, because I'm just like a normie. Like, I don't know any of the basics, so I'm learning a lot as I go about various things. And I'm actually considering of doing a Joe Froggo
There is
Ashcan comic, because I got a whole universe that I've built in my head, also with my dreams and my racing mind at night. A lot of people might not have seen it, but on my old account, I had like a series of tweets that explained the whole Joe Froggo universe in the Docksville Swamp.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, and I think most of you guys will agree with me. Especially, I want to get Redgate's perspective in this, because he's actually a great writer as well. There is no, I mean, of course, there's going to be rules like in everything, but there is no set in stone rules for writing or for anything. You know, if you want to stand out, you got to do your own thing. It's just like Narwhal right now, who was showcasing his art. He's different, you know what I mean? But people like it, and there's a reason for that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I would say, yeah, I mean, exactly what you just said, man. Like, just do your own thing. I mean, the only rules that really fall into it is, you know, grammatical, that kind of crap.
Basic grammar.
But, yeah, but outside of that, I gotta say, John, I've always been jealous of your ability to dream stories.
Yeah.
Honestly, because we've spoken about that before, and that's really cool. I don't remember 99% of my dreams. That bothers me.
And there's a reason for that too. I did a little bit of studying on that matter too, which is why when I started having those crazier dreams, I would write them down as soon as I woke up. And as I was writing them, I'd be forgetting details. So I'd be like in a frenzy writing down, I wrote down the pods, the child soldiers, the dream worms. Like I just put down a bunch of different notes. And then afterwards, as my brain was deleting the dream, I reviewed the notes. And your brain perceives those dream memories as unnecessary information, similar to how like a computer's memory isn't going to just keep everything that you do, because then it would blow up or overload. Your
Right.
brain tends to delete certain facts that it deems unnecessary, and dreams are listed in that category of unnecessary memories, unless there's some sort of way to cement you into remembering it.
But
But really lame dreams then.
That's interesting.
all that useful information has to go somewhere. It just doesn't go into the ether and disappears. And they come back in many ways. But that's kind of like the same point as before, right? Everything is information, right? Everything is numbers. And from the things you see, the things you smell, and I hate to go Matrix on you all, but how do you know anything is real? There's no way of telling.
Right?
Especially after some of those detailed dreams.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I said especially after the detailed, like super lucid ones like that one. Like I remember the sights, I remember the smells of smoke during the battle, I remember fear, I remember the adversity I was going through, thoughts in my mind, doubts. Like I was 16, so I was nearing the end of my usability as a team leader. So I was actually weaker than some of the younger members, because it explains, like you said, when you try to punch someone in a dream and it's weak, like that in my dream, it's explained because your ability as a fighter in the dream world is weak. And so like as you start losing those abilities, like my power was kind of lame. I manifested weaponry, and like I was able early on to destroy monsters real easily, but during those last couple of battles where people were dying, like I shot this giant spider with a rocket launcher and it just slowed it down, and I was in my mind, I was thinking, is this it? Have I lost my usefulness?
Yeah, no, man. Look, you need to write this down, all right? You need to write
Yeah, that's intense.
all this time for a reason, right? There's a reason for that. And to answer to Redgate, look, there's inspiration comes in many ways, right? For me, it's dreams. It is just the way it is. Now tell me, Redgate, what is the source of the inspiration for the Redgate? By the way, if you haven't done so already, subscribe to Sunsworn, to the mail.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I mean, I'm not going to bullshit. The major inspiration for that was I've been a lifelong Star Wars fan.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my #1 franchise ever since I can remember. And just to see it handled the way it was, and then to listen to people say stuff like, oh, well, if you don't like it, why don't you write something better? Okay, you got it. That's my inspiration for this. This story, I've been a role player all my life too, like tabletop role-playing games. And we never used like published adventures, anything like that. We'd always create our own settings, our own worlds, and just kind of do our own thing. So, I mean, I have notebooks and notebooks and notebooks full of stuff that I've created years and years and years ago. And this setting actually came from one of those adventures. So it's kind of like something we've played through that I just, threw some tweaks on and said, I think this would make a really good story.
Is there like an improv aspect to the role playing with people at all?
Oh, for sure. It's
Nice.
it's pretty much nothing but improv.
Yeah, so that's kind of fun. And then, like you said, like the inspiration can come from there. It's the building blocks you can build on it, because then you might need some refinement if you're taking it, but you can do that. Yeah.
Yeah, and the cool part of that too is then, I mean, you not only have your own perspective, but you have so many other people, that you've played with and cool ideas that they've come up with, and just all kind, like a whole memory bank full of just interesting stuff that never left that room. So I say, why not use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I like that.
Absolutely. And so I definitely look forward to Sunsworn as well. I never seen in Comicsgate a book, written in prose. So I'm very excited to see how that comes out. It's going to have some illustrations, right?
Yes, there's going to be a visual companion along with it, with concept art by a number of people. Narwhal was the first guy to get on board with that. Yeah, and his has been on display for the most part. So you're probably most familiar with his designs, character designs. Those right there.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'd
you.
like to do is add some commentary to it as well, from myself and maybe some of the artists if they feel like doing that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And
yeah, I think we have most of the visuals for Sandsworm here present, because we have Vinny, who did an amazing cover art for Sandsworm, and also Narwhal with these amazing concepts.
Mhm.
So
Yes,
this is
ma'am.
cool.
we're all behind the Sandsworm now.
I love those characters.
And then Joe Froggo, I'm looking forward to reading Joe Froggo, man. I want to see what you come up with, especially because we share that whole dream-like. And look, sometimes you wake up and these dreams make no sense, right? But being able to kind of put it together and make something that makes sense is really quite a talent, It's really quite a talent.
Yeah, and it's cool because like a lot of people, some people don't ever or rarely dream or don't remember their dreams, and like to be able to, it's an experience some people never have. And to me, it makes me sound like a crazy person, but like I get to like enter different universes sometimes and like live different lives. Like it's not very often. It's few and far between. And I usually have smaller ones in between, like flying or swimming or different things. But when you wake up from it, it's just a cool experience.
And to all the people at Walmart depleting the Walmart toilet paper, just remember that you are taking Skid's Comics' ability to fly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Listen, Froggy, man, you need to write that stuff down. I'm serious, man. Those types of experiences are the most important experiences of your life. To be able to dream something like that and to think about it, you just need to put it down and just start working it over in your head. I mean, skits came about all from dreams. It was sequential dreams that I had over about a 2-month period. And I'm digging into that bank, and that's where all of my book is coming from, is from my dreams. So just write it down before you start forgetting bits and pieces of it. I mean, I wrote this stuff down 20 years ago, and I'm starting to dive into it, writing the script, and I'm starting to remember all sorts of weird things. I'm like, oh yeah, there was that part, but I wouldn't have been able to remember those things if I hadn't written it down.
Yeah,
So,
I actually had it written down previously. I used to have an antique typewriter. It was really cool, and I started writing down the detailed ones. I can't remember the brand of mine, but yeah, I actually refurbished it. I took it apart, and I've taken apart a lot of things, but a typewriter, those old typewriters, gee, oh my goodness, that's a nightmare. But yeah, I used to type them all out. I used to have that dream in particular. I typed out almost a script. Like, I don't know how to format scripts. I don't know, but as a teenager, I typed it out almost like a story format as best as I could. But unfortunately, I've moved like 1,000 times since then, and that folder's lost to time.
Well, I'll tell you what, man, it doesn't matter how you put it down. Just put it down. All of my stuff is in sketchbooks. I probably got about 15 sketchbooks where all this stuff is just spread out in all sorts of places. And I had to dive in and start taping it together and putting it here and there. And I still don't actually put it into a script format. Like I wrote it all down, organized it, put some structure to it, because you got to put structure to it. And then I gave it to my wife, and she's the one who's typing it up and doing all the editing for me, because she'll be able to say, okay, I see what you're doing here, and let's kind of tweak it here and get something going out of this, So just get it down on something, paper, write it out,
Between you and Mike Murphy, you guys don't make me feel bad anymore about making my wife work for her money, right? That work, you keep it up, all right? Now let's talk about skis. This looks mind-blowing, all right? And look at the colors here. This is like a trip, all right, on acid. Has anybody taken acid before?
Baby.
No.
No.
No white drugs.
No,
All
sugar is the most powerful drug I've ever had.
It is. The crazy thing about it is you get addicted to it at the youngest age.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Sugar's women, right?
It is.
Yeah.
And yes.
let's talk about Skits. What's this book about?
Well, Skits is a book about a guy who can't tell the difference between his dreams and reality. I mean, this is exactly what we're talking about here. It came about 20 years ago when I was working at a TV station, and I had a problem working the graveyard shift, that midnight to 8 a.m. You know, everything started mixing together, and I just couldn't figure out things. You know, it was just a time warp. And what I ended up happening is I ended up having these sequential dreams day after day. I just have, you know, one would end and it would pick up the next day where the other one left off. So for about 2 months, these dreams happened, and I just documented it. So now 20 years later, you're getting, you know, a good series of books out of it.
Absolutely wonderful. Yeah, it's you know, it's that one thing that you I know some people from Comicsgate that does that, like Vinny, for example, right? You guys pull all-nighters, and it starts messing with your mind, doesn't it?
It absolutely
Definitely
does.
Yeah.
Are crazy, baby.
I know. Like I pull an all-nighter, and the next day is miserable. And the worst part is, I don't know why it happens to me, but when I pull an all-nighter, the next night I have the hardest time going to sleep again. It's like, well, so you want to do this to me? You want to play this game? All right, let's play it. You know?
Yeah. The hardest part was, like, you know, you get off at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to do a few things, and then it's like 11 o'clock, and you start to lay down to go to bed, and you can't. I mean, you just can't. I don't know what it is, you know. It's just one of them things, you know.
Absolutely.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I'm gonna run and get some dinner. But thank you so much for having me. Thanks for inviting me, Carla, and everyone. And I'll good to talk to you guys, and I'll see everyone around.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, Narwhal,
Take it easy.
See you Thursday, Narwhal.
Yeah.
Before you cut out, buddy, real quick, if you do want to still be in the ash can, do a new piece for me, please.
Okay. Oh yeah. Sure, I will.
Yeah. I haven't been able to catch it properly, and I don't think you got my last message, but yeah, so that would be awesome.
Okay.
I want to set a little more serious in there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Cool. All right. Thanks, guys.
We need
Nora.
just bringing the seriousness to the party, all right?
Yeah.
Bringing the mindfulness to all this. All right. Now, when is Kids launching?
Skits is launching in the spring, soonish, very soonish.
All right. Look forward to it. What you think? We watch the trailer for Skits.
Yeah, hit the trailer at the very top there, or you can look at that one if you like.
5 days ago, another psychiatric hospital. Apparently, he was diagnosed schizophrenic. I need angels. How long will they be out?
Oh no.
Right.
For another 60 hours. If it behaves.
He's seeing monsters. He's losing his mind, and he feels it going.
Where was this recorded at? I think I'm more concerned about the where.
Well, I mean, it was done by a company for us, Verse Films. It's a production company, so you'll have to ask them.
All right. Well, there seems to be like a little bit of urban exploration there, so I like it.
Yep.
Wow, man, I love it when comics have live actors and things like that. I know Rockabilly Road Trip did that, and it was pretty cool. They even built their own car that resembled the car in the comics.
Yeah. I saw that. That was awesome.
That's kind of going the extra mile. I know that some of you guys have had some voice overs by Red Gaze. I mean, what better voice could you ask for, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I still want to hear him say, "What's in your wallet?"
What's in your wallet?
There you go.
You have a question here. Have you done any dream search of dreams for recovering insomnias?
Oh.
I think that one.
I have a lot of sleep issues myself, and honestly, on average, I probably sleep like 3 to 4 hours a night. And if I do sleep more, it's highly broken, and it's been that way ever since I was a kid. And I there's a lot of ways people say to lucid dream, and like I can't follow a lot of those rules, but I think some of my lucid dreams are because of that broken sleep schedule. And
Yeah.
sometimes I go so long without sleep that I get what I call insomnia flu. So I'll go like 3 weeks without sleeping, then I'll get like deathly sick and sleep like 10, 12, 14 hours. My longest time was 17 hours. And I think I like woke up, I missed work, and it was like, what the hell is going on? It was 17 hours after the last time I remember checking the clock, but that was after like a month of not sleeping. It comes and goes and it fluctuates. So I don't like to say I'm an insomniac because most of the times I sleep like moderately okay.
Man, that sounds terrible. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Look, we have Rotten Glory. I'm a Wildcat Comics virgin, he says. Wow.
Subscribe, hit like. He's been having a lot of good videos he's been making too, another growing channel. So subscribe to him if you haven't.
Yeah, I was on his stream too. He's a great guy. We had fun. It was a good interview.
Yeah. Oh,
Nice.
we have you too. We're inviting you right now.
Yeah,
Come on to the
welcome.
channel anytime you want. Just DM us. We have
Oh yeah.
the best of the best as usual.
You're very welcome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have my head down. I've been doing a new drawing here.
Oh wow.
Nice.
What is
Nice.
next for the Boner King? What are we working on next?
Pirate story.
Pirate Story. That's right. When is it coming up?
I'll probably be launching it around the summertime, maybe late summer.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that first drawing looks great, man, Danny. That is fantastic. That first drawing you put out
Which one? I forgot what we're talking.
for the pirate one when they're on the front of the ship there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's when it's. I've had it for a little bit, a decent amount of time now. But the thing is, because I've been jumping around in different projects. But yeah, I'm still, I'm maybe halfway through that one. But yeah, because I'm going all out again. Beautiful painted pages, doing everything on that. But I'm doing like fully detailed pencils and inks on a lot of these pages, and then I'll paint them. Yeah, I'm trying to get more original artwork. So like when I do my next campaign, I could get the numbers up with that stuff, with the originals. So yeah,
nice.
but yeah, I'm so happy that this beautiful book ended up breaking 28,000 on those last couple of hours. And like I said,
Yeah, we gotta hear it.
Yeah, I want it.
thank you.
Yeah, let's get it over. Let's get it over 30, man. Let's get it over 30.
That's how you make 28K. That's how you make it.
Yeah. Oh, I'd love to get over 30. That'd be great.
Well, you're in demand. It's got to go over 30. You got to keep pushing it, man. You'll get it over.
My bro is a legend. I'm so proud of him. So yeah, I'm so excited to get the book. Congratulations again.
Congrats.
Yeah, last night was the cutoff for the ash can. Like I said, I'm still building up. So I know I have a lot of great pieces in there, but I want to make sure that it's going to be all formatted nicely, so you guys have a lot of cool shit to look at. But yeah, from like this point on though, the only free gifts everyone's going to be getting is a bookmark and a surprise gift. So you still do get something really cool when you buy this book, on top of being, you know, practically a 9 by 12 inch book, 100 pages. I mean, this thing is amazing on its own, but I'm going to tack on extra stuff for you guys anyway. So
That's what the creators do, and
Nice.
that's what it's all about.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, guys, definitely let's look forward to Sunsworn by the one and only, the legend Red Gaze. It's gonna be prose, and it's gonna have illustrations by Narwhal himself and a cover by Vinny. I mean, what else could you possibly do, all right?
And several others will be
I don't want to
in there as well.
Yep, absolutely.
You know what? Like, I think I'm just saying, okay, but I'm very nice stretch goal, Red. You should do an audiobook. You should read your own book. So like that would be amazing.
Oh, that's in the works. That's something I'm definitely looking into. And yeah, if we get it to a certain amount, then yes, absolutely, that will happen.
See, that is gonna be the cure for Joe Froggo's insomnia. He just
Or it might put him. Yeah, you're right.
Relax my mind.
and goes to read Sunsworn. Now let's watch.
Wait, you're not sharing, babe.
Oh, I'm not sharing. Let's watch the second trailer for the other book that we want to showcase, which is Kids. It's coming in spring. I mean, we are in spring, so I assume it's coming really soon. We look forward to that one as well, and we want to share the screen here.
And don't forget, Sunstorm has a new trailer as well.
Oh, all right. Then we will be watching that as well. Let's watch this video for skits. I totally do.
Buffering.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah,
It's hitting too hard for the stream.
it is. It is, but no, man, congrats. That book looks great. It does. It does look amazing.
Just wait till you see the sequentials, man. They're gonna blow your mind.
Yeah. We want to have you for that. All right. So let's.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as well, we also look forward to seeing what Joe Froggo will do with his ideas, because we want to see him on paper. All right.
You want to
And
hear some of my other ideas?
sure, let's hear it.
Well, I was kind of upset because our Narwhal left. I wanted to run some of these by him. But today, I don't know if you guys seen me joking on Twitter about the new Warriors.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wanted to create a new team to fight the new Warriors, one that could also cater to the SJWs. So I got 4 characters I came up with so far. So let me know what you guys think.
Okay.
I got Burrito Man. He's a Mexican superhero whose superpower is to burn the roof of people's mouths, like how drunk people do when they eat microwave burritos. I also have, this was partially thanks to Mara Jade. I got Super Ma'am, that's our brawler of the group, the super strength. But she is only able to transform like the Hulk when people misgender her. Then I have Nutcracker. His power is to make other people feel like they've been punched in the balls, but only by punching himself in the balls.
Oh, I don't know.
And then I got Gale Force. And Gale Force is going to be modeled after Gail Simone to pander to the larger audience. And them's power is going to be to force people to fart uncontrollably, but only while constantly eating beans. So like it sounds like oh, this team might not be that good, but I want to put yourself in the shoes of the poor goddamn bank robber that this team's going to come up against.
No,
This bank robber is going to be, give me all your money. Next thing you know, he's going to get punched in the balls. He's going to shit his pants. He's going to have the roof of his mouth burned and then get punched by a giant transvestite. So that's my team.
What you call a bad day.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Superman should be drawn as Joe Quesada with a wig.
That's another one.
Welcome.
And he punches his own box.
Yeah, like welcome birds. And yeah, I agree with Adam here. It's the new Warriors.
Oh, that's a good name. See, we even with the name, with the concept.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Warriors should not be associated with that team in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Well, the New Warriors was a pretty bad book anyway, so I didn't know that they could make it any worse.
Don't tell that to Zach. Book 1 to 25 is his favorite. That's the theory behind why they did this, was to just mess with Zach.
I don't know, man. I thought the book was pretty terrible myself when it came out, but maybe I need to go back and reread it as an adult or something.
No, you don't. I was never a fan either.
You guys
Okay.
still put yourself through that torture, and I salute you for it, because then you get to review it and tell me about what you thought about these books. Because I just decided to boycott him a long time ago.
Yeah.
Ever since Ms. Marvel came out, I'll never forget, that was the last Marvel comic I ever read. Ms. Marvel issue number 1. And absolutely nothing happened in that book. Nothing.
They went for coffee, didn't they?
That was it.
How exciting.
That was I couldn't believe it. That was a sales pitch for the second issue. That was so disrespectful. After that I never bought a Marvel comics again.
Issue 2, The Quest for Creamer.
All right, so thank you all very much for coming. Just to close off, we're gonna watch the new trailer of Sunsworn. Is it this one, Brett?
Yes.
All right, so let's watch it and
put your headphones.
Put your headphones on. And
volume up.
Go to sleep.
No. Wow.
Excellent. Wow, that was good.
Nice.
Congrats.
Bravo.
Congrats.
Nice.
Now you can all see what my mom watches. By the way, we're at my mom's house because I totally blame Cox for this, all right? We've been without internet for 3 days. So if you have Cox, this is a PSA, stop using them. They're not good.
If you have what?
Yeah. I don't know, is Cox a company over there in New York?
Cox?
In Florida? Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of tells you the quality.
Vinny, he's setting you up to say that you don't have Cox.
Oh my
I have Blue Stream.
God.
That sounds just as bad.
9 by 12 inches. Hard. Big.
Hard.
Thick.
I have something in my mind since the stream started that I want to ask Froggo. I remember Froggo told me that he had a lot of lucid dreams and stuff, and that it had something to do with the origins of Joe Froggo as we know it right now. Will you tell us more about that? I'm so curious.
Well, yeah, the Joe Froggo character, which I am actually a frog.
Mm-hmm.
Like, some people get disappointed when they see this, but I have a power where if I'm kissed by a human, I turn into a human. And me and Narwhal were making out before the stream, so I got a couple hours left of being a human. But besides that, like, the frog meme started as a joke a while back. I can't remember who it was, but they said that their Google searches always were gay because of all their meme research. And I made a joke about I Googled frogs, and Google said, "Did you mean gay frogs?" And then around that same time, it was when Ethan moved into his house with the pool, and he was saving frogs from his pool. And at the time, I made a joke that I was a frog that got saved from Ethan's pool. And then I had a dream about drowning, and I got saved by Ethan Van Sciver, and he said, like, "Here, like, don't go in my pool, go over here," and he put me down. And the joke about him being Caesar with his light was he accidentally blessed me with sentience as a regular tree frog. And then when I got blessed with sentience, I teleported into Doxville Swamp, which is also another thing that can be explained by another character I came up with. But then I started, like, joking about it, memeing about it, thinking about it at night, dreaming about it. And so I got, like, different characters. I got my character, the Doxville Swamp, which has become its own thing. The interdimensional time shifts that I've talked about in some of my memes, that explains why some other comic characters are able to come to my world and my frog's able to go to their world. And it also has to do with the power of the mind, like humans creating their own universes, and also Japanese mythology and Michael Moorcock, who had the ideas that humans give gods power just by believing in them. I reversed it. So Docville Swamp was created in the mind of a god, and he made this whole alternate reality. And when he thinks, he accidentally creates these interdimensional time shifts. So there's a whole lot to it. But yeah, that's where Joe Froggo came from, and some of the characters, and my new studio, like with Adam Post. Like if you've seen the one where we're doing a live stream for Adam Post, the zombie comes in. I'm like, this isn't the time for this. I'm trying to promote this book, and then he shoots the zombie in the head. Like, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy.
That's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah,
Write it down, man.
Write it down. Make a book.
Yeah, that's where my memes come from, and a lot of my goofy stories, like the goose. I got a whole backstory for the goose. The joke is there's all these demons and werewolves and vampires and zombies, but my worst enemy is a goose, a regular goose. I got a whole backstory for that, and why the goose got its powers, why the goose is angry, and it's a moral story, not to judge everything by its cover. There's a reason why the goose is angry and chases werewolves.
Nice.
Now, I look forward to reading that too when it comes out, and it will come out. All right. So yeah, thank you everybody in the chat who joined us tonight. This was a very interesting and a very, very cool live stream with lots of good friends here. Don't forget to subscribe to White Hat Comics, and also to the mailing list for Skits and for Sunsworn as well. I look forward to seeing the Pirate Story by Vinny coming out soon. And also Skits is coming out sooner than everybody else's. I think he's gonna be coming out in just a few days, I imagine, right? So we're excited for that as well. And
soonish.
All right. And then also Foreign Agent, and don't forget to back the Grim Reaper 2. It's still not in demand yet, but still 5 days left.
We're only 5 days left. Yeah. So yeah, do it now, guys. Do it because you really want to get the book with everybody else.
Yeah.
It's gonna look amazing. I'm talking about not only the book inside, but I have prepared some ideas like for the presentation, and it's gonna be like beautiful. So back it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Thank you everybody who joined us today. Thank you very much.
Keep backing this as well.
Keep backing Through the Woods as well, because it's in demand and it's very hard covered. Okay, there you go. Reading art, you can't get better than that. And also,
it's a gorgeous book. You guys are gonna be very happy you got this.
Absolutely, and also because he did hit the 25K, everybody's gonna get the Ashcan. So definitely look forward to that. Thank you very much. Alrighty, guys, this is the end for us today, and we'll hope to see you again very soon. All right.
See you soon.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
Bye.